Drop it.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, likewise.
I have entered into a beautiful relationship with a woman, and she is so amazing. Can you talk a little bit about how we can, as two powerful people, join into a union and express that with each other?
Well, the only thing that matters is how you feel about her, and what you expressed just now came easily to you. It's really the way you feel. So when you focus upon her as your object of attention, she makes it easy for you to choose that high-flying disc. So you're really going to like this, and we really like saying this to you, because lots of people have had this experience where you come together, law of attraction brings you together, and it feels so good as you focus in this way. Now you know what you know as a result of what we've talked about here today. Everything's just going to be wonderful. A lot of people who don't know what you know as a result of what we talked about here today are responding to what the other is doing with you. In other words, if she's on that high-flying disc and holding you as the object of attention, then she's calling you upward. And if you're both on that high-flying disc, then the synergy of that, the mastermind of that, is just indescribable. But there's a tendency in relationships to, because you feel good and you associate the good feeling that you have with the other person, then you sometimes want to hold them responsible for the way you feel. So instead of it being about tending to your disc, it's about observing what somebody else is doing. Now it's not likely that you will ever do that, which means you will be able to maintain your predominantly high-flying vibration regardless of what anybody else is doing. And so that's the recipe for living happily ever after. Not just with an individual that you are enjoying, but with everyone and everything with whom you interact. It's not holding anyone responsible for the way you feel, but caring so much about the way you feel that you choose the disc and then allow everything else to come to it. Can you feel that the responsibility, we don't even like that word very much, but the responsibility that we're wanting you all to assign to yourself is simply choose the disc and then watch what happens, you see. And so you were doing a good job of choosing that disc. Otherwise this rendezvous would not have happened. But there are plenty of people that feel good and then lose it and don't understand what to do in order to regain it, and you do.
So the key for me is don't even focus on her. Just come in and feel good about myself, and she'll express that to me.
We would speak it differently than that. That's almost right. But this is the difference. When you know for sure that you're on that high-flying disc, and how do you know it? Oh, you just feel eager, you feel elated, you feel light-hearted, you feel happy. Focus on her in every detail that you can when you feel like that. And that will just enrich your relationship. It will uplift her. It will, in the same way that our energy worker friend is flowing energy, he's a conduit to flow energy to others. You'll give her life, you'll feed her. She doesn't need it, but it will feel good anyway as it's happening. And if you're not on that high-flying disc, take your attention away from her. Do not allow any momentum to get going that isn't on that high-flying disc. So let's talk about relationships. So you meet someone and they're just so close to perfect, but there's always that thing, you know. And you've got old pipes too. You got old pipes about old relationships that still have some momentum going a little bit. And so if you are just determined that you're going to feel as good as you can feel and then focus, so you're milking it when you're there and you're letting it go when you're not, everything will just continue to get better and better and better and better and better. And there is no limit. We can't even find any stopping off place to the co-creative expansion that is before you. Co-creative expansion. Ooh, don't you just love that?
It feels good.
To be flying high and focusing on somebody you love, which helps them to fly high. And now, not only Did you fly high when you had no reason to fly high? But now you've got evidence and more reason to fly high. That's why the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets. That's why the worse it gets, the worse it gets, the worse it gets too.
So if she's having a tough day and she's into my experience, is her tough day that I cause her tough day to be present in my experience? And how do I deal with that?
Yeah, because she can't rendezvous with you on a disc that you're not on. And women especially, but it's true of everyone. She'll want to make you responsible for the way she feels. And if you're aloof, she'll try harder.
Wow.
Esther would say to Jerry, I really want to know what you think about this. And he would say, I don't really think you want to know what I think about this. I think you want my agreement in this, which was pretty much true. In other words, she wanted to talk about it until he would join her in whatever that was, because you feel like you want the support of those that you love. But you don't want support of those you love. You want support of infinite intelligence. You want support of the energy of the universe. That's the support that you want. And you don't want to sacrifice that. You want to look for love in all the wrong places, you see. So what do? So ask that question as close as you can to the way you just ask it, going slowly, and we'll just step in and show you what we do.
So
she's having a bad day.
Yes, and I understand that I create all the experiences I see.
Well, now wait just a minute on that, because of course you've brought someone lovely into your life, but you can't control what disc she's on at all times. And you want to say, I love you here and I don't really care what disc you're on. And when we're flying high, we'll have the best time. And when we're not flying high, we won't have such a good time. But we're together in all of this, and I'll take you in whatever disc you're on. But I'm going to do my best to fly high and to rendezvous with you mostly when we're both flying high. Those are the marriage vows or the relationship vows that we would offer. I like you pretty good. Let's see how it goes. So let's say that she's having a hard moment for whatever reason, and you're aware of it. Well, the first thing that you want to do is say to yourself, I want to be aware of this from my vantage point of knowing all is well. So you're able to do that. You're really going to like this. You're able to do that if you immediately go general. I adore this girl, and she is lovely in all of these ways. And as you practice it, those things come to mind. They activate in your mind more easily. And this is a sort of rare experience for her. And all of us have those experiences. And I'm so enjoying this experience. And I want to be good for her. And I want to do my best to maintain my alignment. You see, because when you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and holding someone as your object of attention, even if they're not joining you in the well-being that you know to be, they do not feel ignored. So if you are catching this in the early subtle stages, then not much of the other momentum gets underway. If you have the attitude that it's your job to get her and bring her to another place, it never works, because you can't do that. And if you feel resentful that she's in another place and you've joined her there, then that's just going to be some more momentum that plays out. But when you take responsibility for where you are, and you love her from where you are, no matter where she is, you can't do anything less than live happily ever after. It's such a lovely thing to feel this influence pouring through you. Here's a good way of saying it to yourself and maybe to her. Your bad day can never be powerful enough to override my love for you. My love for you will always supersede whatever bad day you're having. And don't ask me to talk much with you about your bad day, because I can't maintain my alignment and do that. I'm just telling you that the commitment that I'm making to us is that I'm going to fly high. And of course, you're not always going to fly high. It's going to flip-flop. Some days you're going to be Kate. Some days you're going to be Luke. In other words, it's going to flip-flop back and forth. But as you are consciously aware of it, you'll have more high-flying days than not. And As we have this conversation, it sounds a little bit like we're just trying to help you keep from falling off the high disc or know what to do when you do. And that really is not the message that we're wanting to offer in this conversation. The message that we're wanting to offer in this conversation is that the deliciousness of being a human, focused in the vibration of the source that is within you, and then from that source connection, holding anyone or anything as your object of attention, just makes for the most delicious moment in the world. And that is in fact what you had to have been doing in order to even describe the love that you feel for this woman. You just can't feel like you felt when you said those words without being everything that we've been asking you to be all day. That's what that feels like. Being in love with someone is what it feels like to have tuned yourself on the highest disc and have maintained the momentum long enough that as you, in your mind or when you're in the room with them, you hold them as your object of attention, you feel like you just described yourself as feeling. You're wanting to be in love with life. You're wanting to be in love with the butterflies and with the woman. You're wanting to be in love with your work. You're wanting to be in love with your own mind. You're wanting to be in love with your probabilities and possibilities. You're wanting to be in love with the contrast that surrounds you. You're wanting to be in love with the potential. You want to be in love with the reality of what's happening right now. You want to be in love with this bouncing off place that is providing so much more for you. You want to be in love with your potential, yes, but you want to be in love with the actuality that is manifesting right here and now. You want to be in love with your emotional guidance system, which gives you the ability to consciously and deliberately move through these discs and know what to do. You want to be in love with every bad moment your woman has, because in those awarenesses, you automatically launch rockets of desire that serve your relationship better and better and better and better. You want to be in love with the step one moments, and you want to appreciate the source who is always in a powerful way doing the step two moments. You want to appreciate your past, and you want to look forward to your future, but mostly you want to savor your now. You want to be savorers. Do you ever put something in your mouth that just tastes really good, and do you just swallow it as fast as you can? Or do you savor it? Do you try to make it last? Do you try to mentally describe it and understand what it is about it that you like so much? Why is this so pleasing to me? As you take more of those savoring moments, why is this so pleasing to me? And you do your best to describe it. Then you just lay in these new pipes and hooking up to that new energy and opening new doors and becoming more alive and feeling the power of who you really are, and rendezvousing with new, constantly rendezvousing with new. Maybe not a new girl, but a new awareness. Maybe not a new girl, but a new depth of understanding. Maybe not a new girl, but a new sensuous moment beyond anything that you've experienced before. Maybe not a new girl, but new experiences. New. Your potential to savor is pretty much untapped by you so far, you see. And as you become professional, predominant savorers when you're on the high disc, and distractors when you're on a less than high disc, everything will work out really, really well.
Thank you.